This week on Maker Update, felted electronics, new 3D printers, wire bending, an angry woodpecker, a big head box, 3D printed tool necklaces, cordless Sawzall, perfect painting, Tinkercad scribbling, and maker fairs. I'm Donald Bell and welcome to another Maker Update. Thank you guys for sticking with me through this new schedule. Things are a little hairy over here, especially as I wrap up my work on the power racing car for Maker Faire Bay Area, which is just in a few weeks. It's running now though, which is great, but there's still a million little things I need to do on it. So that's what I'm dealing with. But I have a lot to catch you guys up on, so let's get started with the project of the week. Becky Stern has a guide up on making this 3D printed glowing LED flower. She's been on a Tinkercad kick recently, and this project is part of that, but also weaves in some basic electronics and felting. Not only does Becky show you how she created this multi-part 3D flower design from scratch with a built-in battery and LED holder, but she shows you how to finish it off with this cute yellow felted dome using a needle and some backing foam. It's a fun project, and I like how it mixes things up a little bit and gives a little dash of craft. It's time for some news, sort of old news by now, but two of the bigger names in 3D printers have announced new products. Ultimaker now has a big 3D printer called the S5, priced at $6,000, and Lulzbot announced a new version of their Lulzbot Mini due out in June, likely priced at around the same $1,200 as the original. You can find links for both printers in the show notes. Now for a bunch of other projects, a lot of them are based in 3D printing this time around. Prodoehl has a quick write-up on making this simple 3D printed wire bending jig. It uses a few bolts and washers and bearings to actually bend the wire, but the 3D printed mount is really the magic part, allowing you to adjust the amount of curve to get the result you want. Greg Zumwalt has another great and thorough write-up on how to print and assemble this complaint button toy. It reminds me of kind of an antique version of the useless box. The woodpecker element gets the job done here, but I would think it would be pretty easy to play around with other designs like a fake hammer or a fist. It looks pretty easy to tweak. Over on Make, there's a fun write-up on how to create your own big head box written by Yuji Hayashi. With a cardboard box, some USB-powered LED strip, and a Fresnel lens, you can trip people out with a giant version of your face. The trick is really getting the right lens, and they're fairly expensive and fragile. Still, I'd love to have one of these handy whenever I need to answer the front door. Penolopy Bulnick has an Instructable up with her experience 3D printing necklace designs on tulle fabric. I've seen a number of people write about 3D printing on fabric for cosplay designs, but using it for fashion like this was new to me, and I like how it looks. It's almost like a tattoo. It's time for another cool tool review. This time we're going to take a look at one of the most hardcore, straight-up tools I've ever reviewed on this show. This is a cordless reciprocating saw, or a Sawzall. This particular one is a compact brushless model from Dewalt. I paid $132 for it on Amazon. I've got links for this particular one, plus batteries and the blades, all in the show notes. And if you use those links, it helps support my videos and the Cool Tools blog. You can think of this as an automatic hacksaw. You put in a blade either vertically or horizontally, lock it in, and when you squeeze the trigger, you get a sawing motion that you can ramp up and down depending on how much you squeeze. Just like a hacksaw, you can get a range of blades for cutting different materials, big teeth for wood or landscaping, or smaller, tighter teeth for metal and plastic. When I had work done on my house last year, I rarely saw the crew without a Sawzall like this nearby. They're awesome for ripping things apart and jamming into tight places. Unlike a circular saw or portable bandsaw, you can just poke this thing right into the spot you need. But as macho as this tool is, I bought it for something pretty silly, breaking down the plastic body of this kid's ride-on car so that I can fit it onto my new go-kart chassis. I've been trying to do this with a Dremel, a drill, a hacksaw, you name it. This has been the most effective tool I've found yet. At high speed with a small tooth blade, this will cut through the plastic car like butter without the fumes and fine dust created by other techniques. That said, this tool falls on the more dangerous side of power tools in my opinion. There's no guard on the blade, there's nothing to stop it from cutting you if it drops. In some ways, it's like a little mini chainsaw, so give it your respect and be careful. That's a quick look at this cordless reciprocating saw. You can pick one up using the link in the description, and you can see thousands of reader recommended tools like these at cool-tools.org. I have a few more tools and tips to share. First, check out the work of Walter Schau on Thingiverse. This guy has nearly 400 designs, and a lot of them are tools like sanding blocks and razor handles and cases. I also saw that the Instructables team has an outstanding collection of training manuals that go over each of the tools found in their Pier 9 workshop in San Francisco. A few of them are tools that few of us will ever see in real life, like a Matsuura 5-axis CNC mill, but there are some bread and butter woodshop and metal shop tools in here worth bookmarking. Eric Strebel has a useful video on how to achieve fantastic surface finishes on painted prototypes. Primer, spot putty, wet sanding, Bondo, custom sanding blocks. There's no easy way out, but if you want to see what it takes to get your finish to the next level, Eric's video really spells it out. Last week, Tinkercad introduced a new scribble feature. With it, you can now quickly freehand 2D designs into Tinkercad and have them automatically extrude into 3D forms that you can shape and refine. It's a cool trick and a way to get an idea down quickly. Over on Tindy, this LED octopus breakout for the Arduino compatible Teensy board caught my eye. It's by Essence Engineering, and with it you can drive 8 strips of LEDs from a single board. It's $34, but it looks like it could really help untangle projects that need a lot of LEDs. On the Nervous System blog, there's a fantastic post by Gabe Fields on his experiments with 3D printing patterns onto stretched fabric. By simulating how the fabric would shrink up ahead of time, Gabe was able to print designs that control and shape the way the fabric shrinks up. There are some very smart ideas in here that push the whole printed fabric technique forward. Finally, this Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, I'll be doing a live video chat with Becky Stern talking about creating free virtual Arduino projects in Tinkercad. It's always fun talking with Becky, so be sure to tune in. Maker fairs! This weekend we have Lome in Togo, Evora, Portugal, Bitola in Republic of Macedonia, West Tisbury, Massachusetts, Madison, Wisconsin, North Little Rock, Arkansas, and Buffalo, New York. And of course, the following weekend, I'll be at Maker Faire Bay Area in San Mateo, California. I'll be around the whole weekend, mostly at the power racing track, but if you want to say hello, you can drop me an email and we can coordinate something, all right? Speaking of power racing series, I need a backup racer and another member of my pit crew. 2 people. If you're interested, email me. I'm Donald@makerprojectlab.com. I can get you weekend passes and guarantee you'll have fun. It's going to be work though. And if you're going to race, you're going to need to be on the small side just to fit in the car I made. All right, and that does it for this week's show. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or leave a thumbs up. No show next week, so if you want to hear from me, get on that email list and you'll hear from me over email. All right? And you can get yourself a reciprocating saw. They're great at tearing things apart. Just don't get torn apart yourself. And if you don't want to do any of that, you can still support the show by buying me a coffee using the Buy Me a Coffee link right down here, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.